Hi everyone and welcome to Season 2 of the Leading Beyond the Lab podcast, proudly sponsored by ARTO, the competitive edge for life sciences talent. I'm your host, Lawrence Rose, and our mission is to shine a light for aspiring scientists and physicians looking to understand what life's really like in the pharmaceutical sector. In each episode, we dive into the stories, insights, and valuable lessons learned that have propelled our guests to remarkable success and impact within their respective disease areas. Now, if you enjoy listening to this episode as much as I enjoyed recording it, be sure to hit subscribe because we'll be releasing new episodes each week. Welcome, Tomoko, to the podcast.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
How's AAD treating you?
Oh, it's lovely. It's many people coming in, and Saturday is the most busiest day of the AAD.
30,000 people. And
Right.
I think a third of them are from the industry, so it's quite interesting.
Yes, that's right. Quite big. There are people from the industry
Yeah.
coming into this, and they wanted to gather the new information around the new drug, or maybe the developing drugs. Yeah.
So it's an opening tradition on the pod for you to give an indication of your experience and talk us through your career.
Yeah, I'm a dermatologist by training. I call myself as the physician drug development leader. So I really like that the drug development, working in the industry, and after 10 years of an academic career, I came to the industry, and I really blessed with that career. So that's what I am.
What really stands out to me about your career, Tomoko, is it hasn't always been a straight line.
Mm-hmm.
Geographically, could you tell us a bit more about that?
Right. I was graduated from the medical school in Japan, and I did my residency there, and I also did the postgraduate, the PhD program in Japan. Then afterwards, I came to the States as a postdoc in Boston.
Yeah.
So that really, brightened me how different culture blessed me. So, that's a wonderful experience working and studying in the United States.
And how does culture and industry compare Japan, US?
Right. So it was more than 25 years ago. Then in Japan, it's still a male-dominated culture. Mm-hmm. And when I came to the States, I worked in the dermatology department in Boston University. The chair, Dr. Barbara Gilchrist, is a woman. And then I learned a lot from her, and I really gained that, the courage from her in how to make my visible in the workplace. And, I really felt that, the woman has to stand up, and that make me the new adventure in the career.
So that gave you motivation to go to the US, where
right.
Where there's less barriers, I suppose.
Yeah, that's
things in your way, obstacles
right.
to pursue a career in industry in the US.
Right.
And what that's really interesting, isn't it? That's a shame it's like that. But so what noticeable difference did you find in the US when you were, which was a good demonstration of the lack of barriers and the opportunities you had?
Well, when I graduated in Osaka University, that's where I was from, there was no woman professor in the medical school. And when I came to the US, that I really had the proximity with Barbara Gilchrist, and so, oh my God, there are so many women professors in that, in the dermatology field. And I came to the AAD. I went to that Society of Investigative Dermatology, another research-oriented conferences. There are so many women. And it's a little different from the atmosphere I felt in Japan.
And so going from a practicing dermatologist into industry for the first time, no doubt was a humbling experience.
Right.
How did you tackle that?
Oh, yeah. So I did my postdoc study in the US. And I went back to Japan for nearly 2 years, and I came back to Canada actually. So the and I after I did 2.5 years in postdoc in Canada, I needed to find a new job, and I
Yeah.
cannot do postdoc forever, right? So I look around at the new adventure, maybe in Canada or maybe in the U.S. But I got a phone call from the recruiter, and then he introduced me that
To which company was this?
Pfizer.
Pfizer.
Pfizer. So Pfizer wanted to find a person who can speak English and then to manage that the global environment, because Pfizer Japan wanted to participate in the global clinical trials. So that's very interesting time for the Japanese pharmaceutical industries, because Japan had a standalone studies until then. That's around 2002. So, but Japan wanted to change that dynamic and want to participate more in a global trial.
Yeah. What an opportunity.
Yeah, it was a great opportunity.
Not many people more qualified either, I imagine. Japanese, English speaking, understands both cultures.
Mm-hmm.
And having studied in the US, you could really meet that hybrid.
Right. So the cross-cultural experience really helped me to do that kind of job.
And if you were to summarize what traits make a great drug developer, how would you summarize them?
Good question. So I think you have to understand the medical things as well as drug development side, because my passion is that how physician can contribute to the drug development. So that's my passion and vision. So I always try to make a little difference in the drug development and make that the more physician's perspective into the drug development and protocol, and also the negotiation with the regulatory authority. So I can say that the most important thing for the drug developer is to understand the regulatory process, and also understand the drug itself, and also understand the disease you are going to target for.
And what separates a good from a very good drug developer in that sense? Is there a tenacity with it, or some personality trait, or?
I think that the teamwork, drug development is a teamwork.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's something you really have to understand if you come from academia.
I can imagine, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Which is where the humbling comes from, I think.
That's true. I really enjoy, learning from statisticians and operation colleagues, and also some financial people too. When I came to the small biotech company, how finance is really important.
How to manage runway.
That's true. Yeah, but then I think that the big companies, I was in Pfizer, Eli Lilly, and GSK. You can learn a lot about the process of drug development, and you can learn from the colleagues. But when you come to the small biotech company, you have to be really equipped with that skill set already.
Yeah.
Otherwise, nobody really tell you, or nobody really educate you from that.
Yeah, I can understand that. And with the biotech side of it, where it's so cross-functional, how did you go about all of a sudden needing to talk to the head of biostats, or the head of regulatory affairs, or the CFO? How did you go about that changing dynamic?
From big pharma to the small biotech.
From a communication perspective.
Communication perspective. Okay. Good question. In a small biotech, even that the CEO is just the next door or myself, right?
Which is nice, right?
It's really nice. Yeah.
And everyone's kind of invested together.
Right.
Like
so it's important to ask questions, those people, that in any situation, even at the big pharma or, the biotech, understand what most important for the company, or project, right?
So are you saying it's almost like being willing and able to demonstrate vulnerability,
Right.
to ask questions, at the and accepting you don't know what you don't know.
Right.
I
Right.
suppose,
So
yeah.
it's important to tell them what you don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you don't want to
Especially
give
in
them
your job.
right. Yes, that's right. And also the understand that what's most important to the company and what you can contribute to the company. So in the small biotech, I was really amazed or stunned how different from between the big pharma and small pharma. So people are talking about merger or maybe that acquisition. So in the big pharma, those are all competitors, right? And then when I was in Pfizer, they acquired pharmacia. The big pharma, get the big pharma, and so that kind of dynamic is so different in the small biotech, because small biotech success is actually to be bought by the big pharma.
Yeah.
Asset.
It's
I'm not
unusual they commercialize.
right.
Yeah.
I'm not specifically saying the company itself, but the acquisition by the big pharma for a certain asset or platform is a great thing for that, the small biotech.
And how would you summarize good leadership and how it changes within those two dynamics?
I think that the leadership is to listen to the people's voice, even at the big pharma or small pharma. But one thing is to understand the dynamic of the team and also understand that the value you can bring into the team. Then what's most important to the company or the project. So to me, big pharma and small biotech, my leadership perspective didn't change. I always try to understand the people whom I work with, then also show some courage. I'm an introvert actually. I'm fine talking one-on-one, but I'm not really comfortable to talk to the big audience. So
that's an interesting point. So as a CMO,
right?
Yeah, you obviously have to talk to lots of people,
right?
So, and not least the regulators, the CEOs, the investors, the board, So how have you? That's probably a challenge that a lot of our listeners would relate to.
Right.
So how have you overcome that? What strategies have you got?
Right. I always have the courage. I wrote down courage, and then I see that courage all the time. Yeah. So I try to come out from the box and then try to do something new and bring that some new value on the table. So that's I need courage myself and to bring onto the table.
And what would be your biggest top 3 achievements or things that have fulfilled you from your career in industry?
Well, I'm very fortunate to deliver 8 products into the market.
Nice.
Not only that phase 3, but
all in dermatology.
Yeah, not all dermatology. Some of the ophthalmology drug.
Oh wow.
And cardiovascular drug, but it's all teamwork. So I'm so proud that I helped the people's growth of my team, and also they help them to advance their career as well. Yeah.
We spoke to someone yesterday on the podcast, Dr. Brian Kim, and he said that sometimes you'll be watching the telly and you'll see your product get marketed, and it really drills home the impact that you're going to make.
Yeah, that's the best thing you work in the industry.
Yeah.
When you are the dermatologist or a physician working in a clinic, you can treat certain number of the patients. But if you bring the new drug into the market, you cannot count the number of the patient.
And no one can take that away from you either, can they?
Right.
And so when in terms of what passions you have, what drives you, what has kept you going this long in such a difficult and challenging career where you've got to keep facing your challenges in an ever-evolving landscape with new regulations, technologies, AI, etc. What keeps you going?
Do you know what day today is?
International Women's Day.
Okay, right. So yes, I told you that the glass ceiling in Japan.
Yeah.
And then, I was so fortunate doing business in the States now. So I try to motivate many women in the States, also more in Japan, Japanese women.
Because you're the president of the Dermatologist and Industry
yes.
Association, aren't you?
Right. So we had annual meeting associated with the AAD. So every year we have the annual meeting of dermatologists in industry. And I'm the current president. I'm stepping down.
Are you?
I did 2 years already.
You're just in.
So it was great experience. And we try to reach out to more young dermatologists. You also will know that the more and more physicians wanted to come to the industry these days.
Yeah, I agree.
Right.
The culture's totally shifted.
Right.
I think back in the day, even when I first started, I found that you became a physician to become a physician to treat patients, etc.
Right.
And now they're actually going into medicine knowing that at some point they want to go into industry, which is crazy, really.
I think that the mentoring is so important for those new people coming to the industry. I always tell that understand that the structure of the industry is so important. It took me so long time to understand that, what the difference between academia and industry, right? So in academia, you are the physician and you are the true leader and you manage the people for that daily clinical practice. But if you come to the industry, you are the part of the team and you don't know much about drug development or the commercialization of the drug development. So where you are is really important. You're probably in that research and development or medical affairs if you are the physician.
Yeah.
Or maybe that's the safety pharmacovigilance, right? But understanding those departments and where you are and who are you working with, that's really important, to make yourself visible. Working just hard does not make you promoted, right?
Yeah, that's true.
That's true, right?
There's other skills.
Yeah, other skills. So to me, the learning those kind of things took 10 years or more.
Yeah.
But now I can tell the people, how you can make yourself visible and get promoted, sooner or faster, then contribute more for the, the large scale of the, what I should say, the dynamics or the more important role in the industry.
Yeah, it's amazing how resilient you've been in your career. I think from day one. If you think about it, most people don't have, the language barrier that you initially had, or have to adjust to new cultures while still excelling in a new industry, despite having glass ceilings put ahead of you, so you've had to overcome those things, which has probably made you stronger than most people.
I thought it's really interesting experience. My day one, when I came to the Pfizer office, and then, I didn't know that the company provides you the computer.
Yeah.
So, as a physician working in academia, you buy your computer yourself.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And then, that's more than 20 years ago, right? So you buy your laptop computer and work. But when I come to the Pfizer office and oh, can I get this computer for
Yeah.
free? But it's not free, but it's a company's
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
property. But the work environment is so different, and how to write the email is also different, right? So in your academic career, you don't see many, CC in the email, but it's a really team communication in the industry. And who are you going to write the email is so important. Who you include in the CC into the email is so important. Those business acumen important. So it's a really steep learning curve.
Yeah, and so how do you find being a fractionated CMO now, advising various biotechs all at once?
Oh, good question. I really enjoy it. When I was in a small biotech or even at the big pharma, I have been very fortunate working later stage in the drug development most of the time. So when I do NDA, new drug application, so I almost work 24/7. So I wanted to review and make sure it's the story is right, and not even at the early stage, I'm writing the protocol. I'm reviewing the protocol. I'm reviewing the clinical study report. But when I'm advising the several companies, I can basically pick the companies what I wanted to work.
You can see what's under the hood before committing. Yeah, I know what you're saying.
And then I do what I like, right? Reviewing the protocol and reviewing their dossiers. And help them to negotiate with the regulators. How you wanted to position yourself and your drug and the strategy and how to make your position more appealing to the regulatory authorities. So I built up those experience over time, and now I can contribute to that each company.
And I suppose with most biotechs that require a fractional CMO, they're usually your archetypal early stage companies.
That's true.
Typically probably in derm if they're coming to you.
Right.
So you must really, it must be quite nice knowing that you've got all this experience to lean on.
Mm-hmm.
So when you go to these meetings with these people, you really can help them so quickly.
Yeah.
Because if you go to a big pharma, they obviously know the basics of drug development and everything else.
Right.
They've got pragmatic know-how. So you're still making an impact, but it's a different type of impact.
Yep.
I can understand why someone with your level of experience would enjoy that.
Right. Because for small, biotech or startups, they don't know that the process, what they see 5 years or 6 years later, right? And after they complete the clinical trials, what kind of barriers they still have. Getting the drug approval is so challenging.
Yeah.
And even you have successful clinical trials, maybe that the CMC, have more, some challenges, and you have to repeat something, or for the topical product, you may still have to do that human factor studies, something that you never thought of, when you were in academia.
Yeah. So you covered everything there, Tomoko. I think we've got a great insight into your experience, the challenges, your motivations and passions.
Right.
It was a really, really good podcast. And thank you so much for your time today.
Oh, thank you very much, Lawrence. My pleasure. Yeah.